Then said he unto me, the sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. It says, but put the case, the entrance where narrow and like a river. So picture it being like there being a narrow passage, right? Meaning very small, right? Small way. And like a river. So it's going to be like a river that leads unto the wide sea, right? So it says, who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it, if he went not through the narrow? So you got to go through narrow things. So-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans have to go through narrow things. We have to go through things like our people being first destroyed off of a land, our people being taken into captivity, taken into the land of our enemies and being murdered, and then they tell you to forget about it, but yet their prosperity is still based off of the fact that they did these things and that they worked this evil among us, right? When we had the so-called Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, what happened? They destroyed it. They destroyed our chances. They manipulated our future to even compete in an economic way. They want to push away all the issues that the so-called black man brought up back in our fathers' times, our forefathers, our grandfathers' times, that brought up these issues and said, hey, these are the things that's stopping us from prospering in this wicked nation called America. This is the things that's stopping us from prospering. So what? With this understanding, we are supposed to realize that we are going through narrow things. We are being afflicted. We are in straits, man, like a damn animal out here. Okay, so it says what? There is also another thing. A city is builded and set up on a broad field, and is full of good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water. And that is exactly what the so-called black men who have understanding of who they are, black men who have understanding that they are the real Jews. That's what the so-called white man is trying to hide. Okay, that we are the real Jews, we are the Israelites, we are the ones that the Lord has chosen. The elite know this, not the destitute so-called white people that walk around here talking about, hey, we should all be equal. Listen, y'all have shown us that there is no equality because y'all destroyed our chances of competing economically, right? So then it says what? That's what our issues are likened unto, man. Our enemies are on both sides, destroying and killing and murdering, okay, and placing us in this systemic destruction that's only meant to destroy the so-called black, Hispanic, Native American man. Okay, you can't, like I said, you can't pass your degree on to your child. You can't pass your job on to your child, right? You gotta just hope that your children will have the mindset to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves in this wicked system. Okay, so it says what? And one only path between them both. So the only path that we have to enter into true life is when Yahweh sends his son Yahweh Shah, who the world calls Jesus. Okay, when Yahweh, who the world calls God, sends Yahweh Shah, who the world calls Jesus, to destroy these nations, man. He's going to destroy these nations with thermonuclear destruction, right? He's going to put that spirit on these other nations, right? On the so-called China and so-called China and Russians. They're going to put that spirit on them to destroy America, destroy Babylon, okay? This is Babylon. This is the land of confusion, okay? And that's what's going to happen. The Most High is going to destroy this place. And it says, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be no man go there at once. You see, so the passage to make it through this understanding, see, it say broad is the way that lead to destruction. Okay, broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. You know, because you know what, the Lord requires of us to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Every word that proceed out of his mouth, that's supposed to be our food. Those are the things that we eat of, right? So when we don't follow in that straight way, that straight understanding, okay, we're gonna fall into the broad area, man. We're gonna fall into the broad area where we are gonna be destroyed with thermonuclear destruction. Liken unto the white man. For one morsel of meat, we giving up our birthright. Okay, like Esau did. Esau is the so-called white man. Edom is the people of Esau. So it says, yeah, so our people go into the broad way, and that's why they get destroyed day in and day out. Broad is the way that leads to destruction. So guess what? There are few that find that straight way. And that's what the scriptures talk about in 2nd Esdras chapter 7 and verse 8. I mean in verse 9. It says, if the city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, so the city is given to us. And what city is that? The city that's going to be given to the so-called black man is Israel, where our enemies are currently standing on and trotting down in our presence to this day, because that's truly where we come from. You know, that's where the so-called Mayan, Aztec, Native American, Incan man, and black man has come from. We come from the land of Israel, and guess what? The enemy is trotting it down in our presence, man. Trotting down our city. And that place was given to us as an inheritance. So to receive that thing, we got to go through straightness, man. We got to go through being murdered in the streets, being killed day in and day out, being refused the necessity that a nation needs, man. The necessities that a nation must have. We've been refused those things as a people. That's why our women hate us, and our brothers hate each other. These are the types of things that are going on in our communities. These are the type of things that's going on in the so-called black communities, man. They put the wine bottle to our mouth to drink of the foul ways and understandings, man. They put these wine bottles to our mouth, and they look upon us and say, look at how they doing. They're so evil, they so wicked, they doing all these things. But first and foremost, when we weren't doing such things, we weren't doing this so-called black culture that you gave us, which is really your culture, okay? When we weren't doing those things, what were y'all doing? Murdering us by the millions. Murdering black men, hanging them up on trees. What pants were there to be sagged in? What weed was there to be smoked in? You see? They don't want to deal with that, man. They don't want to deal with the cause. You know? When you ask your child, why does he do something wrong? They say, I did this because. So they don't want to deal with the cause of why black men, young black men and Hispanic and Native American men are being put in jail. They don't want to deal with the cause and the reason on why this is. But the Bible is telling us exactly why. But we don't care to hear. We count our own people our enemies. And not the wicked, not the so-called white man who truly have destroyed you. So these are the straight things that we have to go through day in and day out. It says, if this city now be given unto a man, which is a so-called black man, a Native American man, and a Mayan and Incan man, okay, who have Israelite blood in them, this land was given to us. This city was given to us as an inheritance. It says, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive the inheritance? So how you gonna receive that inheritance? So we gotta go through these things to get what we have to go through these things to get the truth of what our people are supposed to have. Not walking around here got a goddamn evil eye towards your brother, ready to kill your brother at any drop of a dime, but then you sit up here and look on your enemy to love him. Yeah, man, he gave me this job. Man, first and foremost, he took everything from you and made you have to go to him for a damn job. So you still ain't got nothing. Pass your job on to your daughter. Pass your job on to your son. You can't. So lose the evilness that you got in your heart for your own brother and get some knowledge in your oppression. Our people ain't got no sense out here, man. We know what you about. We know the spirit that's on our people. Our people are goddamn devils out here, man. So anyway, it says, how shall he receive this inheritance, right? So how you gonna receive the inheritance unless you go through these things, unless you get the understanding, gain the knowledge, and deal with it, man. You're gonna have to deal with it. The wicked gonna come at you and say, hey, man, you're not preaching what's right. You preaching hate. get off the block. Are you preaching hate? Come with us. And they gonna murder you, man. They gonna torture you. You gotta go through it. You gotta go through it if your children gonna have it. That's why the scripture says you gotta hate your life, man. Scripture says to the so-called black and Native American and the Mayan man, the Incan man, he says what? It says, arise ye, depart, for this is not your rest. Because your ancestors' blood are spilled here. Your ancestors' blood is spilled in this land. And the Bible speaks on that thing. So you can't call yourself Native American and Incan and Mayan no more, right? You got to call yourself an Israelite. You got to have understanding that you are the people of Israel, man. See, but our people don't want that understanding. Our people want to hate because they don't like who it comes from, man. They don't like who the word comes from, man. They want the word to come from their oppressors. You know? Our people want truth to come from who they see on TV. They see the so-called white man playing as Jesus on TV, and that's who they want to hear the truth from. They don't want to hear the truth coming from the man that's been oppressed and destroyed and been murdered. My people have been murdered, killed, destroyed day in and day out. That's why when the wicked nations that's confederate with the white man, they look up on the black man, they say, man, why is he not in jail right now? They want the black man to be in jail. They want the black man to be killed, right? They don't care what the black man doing. If he got a damn suit on, or if he got a degree, or if he got a rep on the streets, they don't care what the black man is doing. They want him dead. They want him locked up. You see? We got to have understanding, man, and we got to be bold to come out here and speak this truth out here in the streets, no matter what. No matter if people hearing it or not, man. Cry to the wind, preach to the wind, man, and post that thing on these highways and hedges called the internet, man. So it says, so you got to go through that stuff, man. Verse 10, and I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. So that's our only portion. That's the so-called black man's only portion, is to receive straight things, that we can receive those wide things, so that we can have that inheritance, so we can have a place that's given to us from the Most High Yahweh's Son, man. When Yahweh shall come to establish judgment, true judgment on the earth, man. And it says, because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of the world made narrow. So the entrances of the world was made narrow, man. You know, you even got pain in childbirth, and then all these other things start to happen as it just, you know, as the generations went on, you know. The generations went on. That's why we shouldn't ask, you know, man, why is it that we don't have the old path? Why the old paths was better than today? You don't even know what you're speaking of. You're supposed to seek that these things come upon us so that we can finally receive our kingdom, man. So it says what? So it says what? Then were the entrances of the world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. That's right. So our life is very painful in this wicked system of oppression, man. Our life is very painful in this captivity, man. Okay? The Lord say he gonna give the right to the poor, man. And the wicked have done nothing but only wanted to take away the rights of the poor, man. The poor and the needy. So we gotta have understanding in these last days. Right? You know? And it says, for the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure. So the elder world was wide and sure, man. When Adam walked on the earth and we had land and we had everything that we need of, you know, Adam was, you know, the people of Adam, which is we are that was the prototype, as I heard a brother, a powerful brother, Deacon with Sakari, he brought this out. He said he made it to be understood on this wise that Adam, the people of Adam, was the prototype to what we are today, Israel, right? So it says the entrance into the elder world, in verse 13, the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. So what's laid up for the men that walk in righteousness? What's laid up for us? Is laid up safety, man. True rest. The nations are going to be our nursing fathers, and the rich nursing fathers and nursing mothers. All right, they're going to be our handmaids, okay, and our servants, man. And all the other wicked nations are going to be broken and beat down until they beat their spears into pruning hooks, okay, and their swords into plowshares, right? They're going to be out here serving, man. They're going to be in a servile position, man. So it says what? Now therefore, why disquietest thou thyself, seeing thou art but a corruptible man? And why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal? Why hast thou not considered in thy minds this thing? It says, why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come, rather than that which is present? So what was present at the time is, even with Ezra, he was in the nation of Israel. He was okay. It wasn't as bad. But now things in this present time, now with us, it's terrible, man. These are things that's happened up on the earth, man. Hey, it's gonna even get worse, man. When the Most High wakes up His sword, man. Because they already woke and they already killing and murdering and destroying our people. But you know what? It's gonna get worse. So you gotta consider. The Lord is wanting us to consider. If we are at the end, seek the Lord while you may be found, man. So it says what? Then answered I and said, O Lord, what that bearest rule thou hast ordained